Longhorns, Knights, glad you're tuning in wherever you are on Big 12 Now on ESPN+. And the first pitch by Felton is in there for a strike as we're underway here against Caitlin Henry, the freshman. Having an incredible freshman season, hitting .459, 6 home runs, 21 RBIs. She takes a strike. She's hit in the 9 spot, but 14 games ago, Mike White decided to move her back to the top of the order for some added pop that she brings to the table.
Well, Henry isn't very big in stature, we see, but she is somebody that has a lot of pop in her bat, so much power in the box, but she also can short game it too. So you're just all out crafty hitter. And I think that's why we see her in the top too. She finds ways on base.
She's ahead 1-2 to count. She's got a 9-game hit streak currently. It's Felton on the 1-2. Oh, and then 2-2 now, the count. And it was Felton, ironically, that started against Texas in Clearwater in 2022. So she gets the start here. She got a no decision in that game in Clearwater. That was a game where both teams had to use a ton of pitching. As the 2-2 is grounded to the Cody at third to throw to first in time to retire Henry for the first out of the ball game.
The third baseman,
round out to start it off. So you see Cody with the play there. Now that'll bring up Mia Scott, the junior. .421 average, 2 homers, 22 RBIs for the left-handed hitting Scott. Hits one up the middle and through. Base hit. 1-out single for Mia Scott to get the Longhorns on base.
And Mia Scott does a good job just driving that pitch right over the middle of the plate. It's still down in the zone, so a good job by Felton keeping that around the knees, but Scott wasting no time, taking advantage of the first pitch she sees. And I think that's going to be the approach tonight, Eric, from this Longhorn team. You've got Felton in the circle for UCF trying to keep the ball in the park, but Texas has been so aggressive offensively.
So Scott now is on base for the 18th straight game with that single. As Jolie Mitchell, the senior, transfer from Notre Dame, at the plate. So Scott at first base. Both of these teams like to be aggressive on the base paths. As the 1-0 pitch is a strike, 1-1 to count to Mitchell. What a pickup Mitchell has been for the Longhorns, coming over from Notre Dame, hitting .500 on the year, 5 homers, 21 RBIs. In the top 10 in the country in batting average, on base, and slugging percentage. She takes their load, 2-1 the count.
I'd say that's a pretty good pickup.
Yeah.
I love when athletes can get different opportunities like this and just continue to take advantage, capitalizing on their time on the field. You don't get much of it as a collegiate athlete.
2-1. Runner half goes. Griffin throws to Williams, and Scott gets back. Not sure there if that was by design or not, but Scott went halfway, maybe to distract the defense. Nonetheless, a 3-1 count.
And I want to question if that's just a missed opportunity right there. You've got Griffin. You've got to get your base runner, Scott, to commit to a side. I think you could have had her maybe in a play that was a big opportunity for UCF to try to take advantage of a little misstep.
And Mitchell draws the walk, so a single and a walk. And it's 2 on, 1 out for Reese Atwood. The nation's leader in RBIs steps in. One of the nations right now in the mix for National Player of the Year. Having an incredible sophomore year, .447, 11 homers, 50 RBIs. The fastest Longhorn to reach 50 RBIs, doing it in 85 official at-bats. The school record is 66. She takes the ball 1. She's coming off a big game in Tallahassee against Florida State. She hit that 11th home run in that 7th inning. Hadn't hit one since early March, but she's back in the groove.
So much power, and I think what I'm just wanting to compliment the most out of all of that info that you just shared is the fact that going into the sophomore season, she's continued to find ways to be successful.
She gets jammed here, pops it up. Aubrey Evans at second makes the catch towards the grass area, and Atwood is retired for the second out of the inning.
Batting fifth, the second baseman, number 11, Alyssa Washington.
Huge out for Felton in the ninth.
That's a big one. And really just to kind of finish that thought there, I think athletes going from freshman to sophomore year sometimes struggle because you collect all that information when you have a lot of playing opportunities like Atwood did last year. And so headed into your sophomore year, everybody knows who you are. So making that transition of how to find ways to be successful with all the data that they then have on you is one of the hardest transitions, in my opinion, to make. There's a few, but that's one of the hardest. So that's a good job by Felton.
Alyssa Washington, the senior now at the plate, down in the count 0-1. Foul swing and foul tip that, and it's 0-2 to Washington, who's hitting .358, 6 homers, 22 RBIs in the year.
And I like that pitch right there because Felton's going to leave that ball up. It doesn't necessarily have that upward spin of the rise ball, but just the ability to change planes north and south is going to be crucial.
Washington fouls it off. Steve Singleton runs the offense, as well as Kristen Zaleski. Kristen Zaleski was over at first base. Zaleski runs the short game for Texas, and that's part of the diversity. There's Coach Singleton, who Mike White says is one of the best recruiters in the country. Of course, this is a bit of a homecoming for him. He's coached professional baseball here in the state of Florida for many years. In the 0-2, and actually Mike White met him through Travis Wilson, for a Florida State associate head coach.
Hey, I feel like these coaches are awesome with information sharing, and when you find somebody that you think can make a great contribution to the game, you want to give them the opportunity, and you don't withhold that kind of stuff because it's just making the game better.
Washington fouls it off to the right side. Crowd still selling in. It is sold out all weekend. It is the first ever weekend series sold out here in the history of the Plex, and they are still coming in through the stands. They're coming out through the outfield. They've added a party deck at left field.
Maybe we can take the broadcast out there.
Listen, that's a major Howell question there. 1-2, it's up high. Don't think that hasn't been brought up. 2-2 the count. There's the party deck inserted for this weekend. People are spending hundreds of $200, Alex, to hang out there. Pretty good.
What a view. If we weren't on call, I might consider it.
Well,
I'm just saying.
I understand you'd rather hang out with them than me. I got you. 2-2 is hit to right foul. Washington battling Felton here. This Longhorns offense on pace to shatter so many school records among the nation's best in runs scored, batting average, slugging, you name it. They're at the top of it. Mike White wouldn't commit. I asked him if he thought this was the best offense he's had in his coaching career. He doesn't compare teams. As that one gets past Griffin, and Scott both runners will advance now, second and third. So that's a big wild pitch with a big 3-2 pitch coming up here.
A couple of small miscues here for UCF early in this ball game. That one just crossing up Griffin behind the dish. Almost needing to just turn that glove over, try to make the block, but instead tries to give the pick. With runners on base, you got to get in front of that ball.
What White did say is he feels this is the deepest offense he's had since at Texas. And that one is going to drop in for a hit. That's going to drive in Scott. It's an RBI single for Washington, and Texas jumps out in front with an early 1-0 lead.
That's a great piece of hitting right there. Washington just driving that ball right back up the middle, but working deep in the count against Felton. I love that approach because then she's continuing to challenge Felton, make her bring something over the plate. But this throw right here by Janisha Rowe, too, that's money right on a line to home.
So now Viviana Martinez, their teammates call her Vivi, steps in. She's hitting .306, 2 homers and 17 RBIs for Vivi Martinez. Sophomore, all Big 12 freshman member a year ago. Takes the ball. Had 52 RBIs last year, most by a freshman in Texas softball history. Was on the U.S. national roster for the Japan All-Star Series, was teammates with UCF's Jada Cody. It fouls it off, and the count is 2-1. Got Jolie Mitchell at third. We got Washington at first. 2 outs here in the first, a 1-0 lead for Texas. Now Felton trying to minimize the damage. Bullpen is up. This could be one of those games where every arm's available. That ball's hit to the deep left side as Williams, all she can do is knock it down as Mitchell will score as Martinez extends the Longhorns lead to 2-0.
The first baseman, number 20, Katie Stewart.
That's a good piece of hitting right there from Martinez, just hitting it right in the 5-6 hole. Easily going to come in and score is Mitchell. But this is why Texas is so dangerous, just can finalize this last out that's needed for UCF. But she's probably telling her, hey, you're doing a great job keeping the ball down. Just get it off the middle of the plate, because that's what Texas is able to get their barrel out on those pitches. But you're doing a good job keeping it at the knees and lower.
Katie Stewart at the plate, hitting .389 on the season, 5 home runs and 24 RBIs. 1-0. Swing and a miss. 1-1 the count.
And this is what Felton needs to try to do right there. That pitch off the plate. I love that location. Also up in the zone. It's going to complement her drop ball really nicely. Being able to work north to south, up and down in the zone is going to be crucial. Just different looks, different planes.
Changes the speeds there. And the count is 1-2. Ball and 2 strikes the count to Stewart. Freshman from Illinois. Did she hold her swing? They appeal, no. Swing is the call. Donald Brown is the home plate umpire. Robert Guest at first. Cameron Ellison is at third base. There's the crew. Two-two pitch. Did she go? No swing and no strike call. Some of the faithful here get a little restless on this rowdy Friday night crowd. So the count is full to Stewart. Play first and catch. Fouls it back.
Texas offense doing a great job just challenging Felton deep into these counts. Even if she's getting ahead, they're patient in the box, not swinging at the pitches that are off the plate when Felton's ahead, trying to get them to swing outside of their zone. So a good little matchup here, working deep into these counts, but that's what's forcing Felton to have to come back over the plate. And Texas is just hitting the ball all over.
Swing and a miss. Felton gets the strikeout to end the inning. Kotzenick fouls it off, 0-1 the count.
And I love that White is giving the young freshman the ball, just trying to see what she's made of here, just continuing to put her to the test. And Kavan's going to be mostly up in the zone, going to have a rise ball, curve ball mix, and she's got a good off-speed pitch, which is so clutch right now with where the game is offensively across the country. And we talked about it just a little bit in the first inning, or the top of the first, Eric, of Texas has been absolutely crushing people lately, and then just on every side of this field, every aspect of the game is so solid, but then UCF continues to be within so close of just small changes of some wins.
Kotzenick hits a fly ball to left, playable as Henry makes the catch. And Stormy is retired for the first out here in the bottom of the first. This Longhorn defense, very athletic in that outfield. There's Jada Cody stepping in. Jada hitting .376, 3 homers, 11 RBIs. Has led off most of the year, hitting in the 2 spot here in this game. Takes a strike, perhaps to try to give her some more run-producing opportunities for her to drive in some runs.
Absolutely, and I like to see that Coach Bob Malone continues to just shift the lineup just even slightly, because Stormy Kotzenick seeing the ball well, so putting her in positions of a lot of at-bats, a lot of looks right now when she's feeling good, I think is a good move. Trying to put Jada Cody in some RBI opportunities here and put a couple across the board.
A ball and a strike to count. Up high, 2-1 now, the count. First, Kavan, freshman Phenom, lots of excitement of her, one of the highly touted recruits. Part of this deep pitching staff. Mac Morgan, who was an 18-game winner last year, started in the Florida State win, has been used as a reliever a lot as well. There's 2-2 now, the count. Look at the pitch here by Kavan.
And that's a good pitch, so close on a 2-strike count. I'm always a little scared to take those because I never want the umpire to take the bat out of my hands.
Cody hits it back to Kavan, who will throw to first. In time to retire Cody. So 2 gone. Swings it, fouls it off. Chloe hitting .305, 3 homers and 17 RBIs. Of course, UCF 14-11, but doing it with the 14th toughest schedule in the country, the Knights. The 0-1 there is this ball 1, and you know, you get talking sense to talking to the Knight players and the coaches. Obviously they're frustrated because they've been right there in a lot of these games. A hit here, a play there, situational plays could be a completely different season win-loss wise. But there's a lot of softball to go. 1-2 the count. You got Texas still on the schedule. You go to Texas Tech. You got Oklahoma. One of the advantages of being in a power league is you still have many opportunities to improve your resume. The negative is you got a lot of competition to face. 1-2. Got her. Kavan gets the strikeout and pitches a 1-2-3 for Felton to Maloney. Takes the ball 1-0 the count. To Ashton Maloney, the sophomore. 392, no homers, 7 RBIs. Will be followed by Bella Dayton. And of course, Kaiten Henry, 891 for the Longhorns. The 1-0 from Felton. The strike, it's 1-1.
And I think something we're going to continue to see, too, from these Mike White lineups throughout the years is going to be just versatility up and down the lineup. He's like, I love the athletes that can run the bases, and that's always been one of my things. And doesn't matter who I've had in my lineup, doesn't matter what team it was, we can hit the power game, and we can definitely do the short game, run game.
He compared some of the slap hitters he's got to like some of the slap hitters he had in Oregon, like Reed, who was an Olympian, among many others. Those great Oregon teams that he had. He won 5 Pac-12 championships at Oregon from 2010 to 2018. Got to the College World Series 5 times. There's a ground ball to third. Cody's there. Will throw to first in time to retire Maloney. 1 out here in the second.
And ninth, the left fielder, number 6, Bella Dayton.
Now Bella Dayton will come to the plate, the senior from Wiley, Texas. Hitting .400 with no homers and 10 RBIs. Dayton, one of 5 Longhorns in this starting lineup, hitting over .400 for the season. 5. It's low for a ball. 1-0 the count. There's Mike White. Has been to at least the Super Regionals in all 13 seasons that there was an NCAA tournament softball postseason. Of course, led Texas to the National Championship Series 2 years ago in 2022 as an unseeded team, winning a regional in Seattle against Washington and then beating Arkansas in the Supers before eventually losing to Oklahoma in the National Championship Series. But a lot of people believe this team might even be more talented than that Texas team that played for the national title. The 1-1 is high. 2-1 now, the count.
And what a phenomenal stat that is, too, just of the career that has been Mike White. As far as coaching, of course, he had a great career himself playing, right? But just coaching and such good leadership, a lot of dominance throughout his experience.
Ground ball to short. Williams is there. Throw to first. Not in time. And that is a vintage Bella Dayton hit. That is the speed that the Longhorns bring from their slap hitters.
And this is what's so tough. You've got Jazz Williams, even just the slightest step of hesitancy, of just delay. Dayton's going to be able to beat it out. So infield single there for Dayton. Great job running down the line. So much speed on the base path. And that's what Mike White said, too, was he loves her ability to turn the lineup over and get the top back up with her on base.
Now Henry at the plate. Rudder at first. Ball 1. These two teams like to run. They're 1-2 in the Big 12 in stolen bases. Texas ranks 18th in the country with 54 stolen bases. UCF's 38 with 44 stolen bases. Texas averaging nearly 2 steals a game, ranked 25th in steals per game average. UCF 1.76. There's runner goes. That's a base hit to left. And it'll be 2 on, 1 out here for the Longhorns as Henry extends her hitting streak now to 10 games. 2 on, 1 out.
Kaden Henry just hits that ball so sharp. Look at it as it just whizzes down the line past Jada Cody. I almost want to say, Eric, thank goodness that wasn't hit right towards Cody, and she had to reach towards that backhand side there down the line. Henry hit that ball so sharp. And Texas just continues to threat, and no power game yet, just chipping away single by single. Felton doing a good job keeping the ball down in the zone.
Mia Scott takes ball 1. 1-0 the count to Scott. Well, we saw a little bit of this with Texas against Florida State on Wednesday night. Chipped away, jumped to an early lead, kept adding on to it, eventually run ruling the Seminoles 10-0 in 6 innings. It's the 2-0. It's low. To put that in perspective, the last time Florida State was run ruled at home, broadcast partner knows that last time.
Yeah.
It was the Michigan Game 1 Super Regional. You're on the field for that.
Yep, I know.
But there's a happy ending. You came back and won that Super Regional, got to the World Series.
Hey, sometimes you got to lose big to come back and win big. Am I right?
There's the bullpen with DeVoe to the right and Sona to the left. And right now, Ashley Griffin trying to settle down Felton. He's not making bad pitches, but give Texas credit. They're just doing what they need to do and putting the ball in play and finding the right spots. But now Felton's not helping by falling behind the hitter here, 3-0 to Scott.
This is where great lineups can be so dangerous, because if you have a good game plan going into a game, you've done your scouting, you have your information, and you have these plans in your at-bats, you're able to swing at pitches even if they are off the plate. So then you mix in missing a little bit more white, you become really dangerous as an offensive threat, as a collective group.
There you see Coach Ball Malone with Cassidy Brewer, former Knight player, now an assistant coach. Played here from 16 to 19. That ball is missed, ball 4 to walk to Scott, and they're loaded. Bases loaded, 1 out.
Now batting the designated player number 9,
Jolie Mitchell to the plate. Big spot early here for the Knights, trying to stay in it. Texas has done a good job kind of keeping this sellout crowd out of in the mix so far. It's Mitchell, who walked in the first, steps in. Hits it to second. The flip to second for 1 to throw to first. Double play. A huge double play turn by Aubrey Evans, Jazz Williams, and Shannon Doherty to get the Knights out of this jam. Welcome back. You see Aubrey Evans ready to lead off. Just helped turn a big double play for the Knights in the top half of the inning.
Oh, it was a beautiful play by Aubrey Evans, just fielding this ball right on the backhand side, gonna make the flip to Jazz Williams. Her transfer to Jazz is so quick, out of the hand, out of the glove. Love the 4-6-3 double play action right there. But we talk about momentum shift all the time in the game of softball. This could be a good opportunity for UCF to leverage what that feeling was like headed back into the dugout fired up.
9th double play turn by the Knights defense this season. Mentioned they're 4th in the country in fielding percentage. Having an incredible season there at a fielding percentage wise for the Knights. 983 fielding percentage. Only 12 errors this season for UCF. Among the best in the country. Jen Salling, of course, her second year as assistant coach, runs the defense for UCF. As Aubrey takes a strike, there's head coach Cindy Ball Malone. 6th season, her next win, whenever that is, will be her 200th at UCF. She's 2 wins away from 300 career wins as a head coach. As Aubrey swings and foul tips, of course, spent some time at Boise State. She led Boise State to their first ever Mountain West Conference Championship in 2018, got them to their first regional, and then came to UCF. Has done an incredible job, has led him to 3 straight regionals, and of course hosting that regional in 2022, winning the program's first ever regional against Michigan in 2022 that nobody will ever forget.
Well, I think it's safe to say that Cindy Ball Malone has made herself like a local legend here in the Central Florida area, with all that she's been able to accomplish out there on the diamond.
Time call is a ball got loose in the outfield there as somebody was throwing the ball there. There's Bobby Malone there in the gold hat. That's Cindy Ball Malone's husband. And look, everybody's looking at him. He's to blame. Oh, boy. You might hear about that afterwards. Reeks was frozen. A strikeout by Kavan for the first out here in the second.
Kavan's going to do a great job just painting that pitch on the inside corner right there. We saw it earlier, too, with Jada Cody in 2 strikes. And I thought to myself then as well that you never want to take a pitch right there just because you don't want to give the umpire the opportunity to take the bat out of your hands. That one too close for comfort there. It's a beautiful pitch.
Here's Samantha Ray, the freshman, getting the start at left field, has started this year at second base. Part of this freshman class that the Knights was ranked 16th according to Extra Innings Softball. It's been the 16th best freshman class. Texas freshman class was in the top 5. So we got 2 great freshman classes for both of these programs. As the 0-1 there is missed, 1-1. There's to see Coach Ball Malone. You mentioned it. She says she can't go to a store now without being recognized.
Local celeb. I feel like that's what all these coaches experience at some point throughout their careers whenever they've been at a school for a while. Especially softball, it's growing so quickly across the country. The popularity of the sport, the visibility of the sport. You go places, restaurants, stores, got to kind of do the duck and dive.
There you see the Knights last year, of course, 3 straight regionals, 3 straight 40-win seasons, first time ever in program history. And as a result, the expectations are through the roof, and Coach Ball Malone is among them that wants to raise the bar. He says, that's not good enough just to make a regionals here. Let's take that next step. She even took her team to Oklahoma City to the stadium prior to that Oklahoma State series to envision this is where we want to be at the end of the year as Ray flies out to right. As the catch is made by Maloney. 2 up, 2 down here in the second inning. But that's what Coach Ball Malone has brought, is raise the bar for this program.
You have to get there. You have to know what it feels like to step on that field, to be able to visualize where it is that you want to be. I like that she did that, and she said, hey, it's not just going to be in conference games that we're playing here. It's not just going to be regular season, postseason tournament in regards to just conference play.
Jazz Williams grounds to third. Fair ball, throw to first in time. And just like that, the inning ends.
It doesn't get any cuter than that. Come on.
Man, it's become a phenomenon as Reese Atwood leads off for the Longhorns here in the third. Swings and misses 0-1 the count. I was doing a baseball broadcast earlier this week, UCF FAU with Stephen Branca, and Branca was talking about it.
Hey, it's going to go somewhere.
So it's become universal. 0-1. Atwood takes a ball.
You're on social media, Neff. Have you seen some of these programs bring the furry friends in?
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, it's almost like therapeutic, you know? I don't blame them.
There's plenty in the outfield here, too. That's the other. We got a party deck. We got dogs running around. 1-1 to Atwood. Hits a high fly ball to right, playable. Chloe Evans is under it and makes the catch. And Atwood retired for the second time here tonight. She's 0 for 2. There you see, I wasn't lying. There's a dog right there.
Oh, look at her out there. Her, boy, I don't know. Her, him, not sure. Cute nonetheless. A little golden retriever action, but I like that pitch efficiency, too, in the circle by Felton, just going right at the hitters.
See if she settles in here. Against Alyssa Washington, who had a big at-bat in that first inning, drove in the first run with an RBI hit, fouling pitch after pitch. And 2 strikes got that single that gave Texas a 1-0 lead. The captain, where's the C? Big deal in Texas. Talking to some of the players, when I bring up who's the leaders on the team, her name gets brought up. She was an all Big 12 second teamer in 2022. Played shortstop and third base last year. Now it's second base this year. There's the 1-1. Hits a ball to right, but playable. Chloe Evans is there to make the catch. 2 gone. So 2 quick outs. You see Chloe Evans making the catch. It was funny, when Chloe was at Minnesota, she said she used to interact with the Knight fans in the outfield. And that was one of the things that attracted her when she decided to enter the portal and ended up coming to UCF. She remembered the atmosphere here.
Yeah, look at all the people behind her there. Of course, she got the fire truck posted up, but just so many fans out there camping out in right field. I love it.
First pitch here, ball 1 to Martinez. Were you a talkative player on the field?
I was, you know, I would keep it like it wasn't super noticeable that I was saying stuff, whether it was to umpires, other players, my own teammates, fans, but I got in some good verbiage.
1-0 pitch. Martinez ahead of the count here. Of course, comes from a family, does Martinez, of a family that played baseball. Her dad played baseball. I asked Martinez, what did she learn from her freshman year last year? And she's like, to embrace the obstacles, which was a fascinating line. And even expanded on that at her experience with the U.S. national team in the All-Star Series in Japan, as she was a teammate with Jada Cody, as I mentioned earlier. A sophomore from Texas. Takes a strike, 3-1. What does that mean? What does that strike to your head when someone says embrace the obstacles?
Maturity, because life is about obstacles and life is about adversity coming at you left and right, no matter how old you are, what your situation is. And I love that these athletes learn that through the game of softball, but also just their surroundings.
Felton's come back here, and the count is full, 3-2. Steve Singleton. Eventually, who runs the offense and handles the recruiting. The payoff pitch from Felton, foul back. Kristen Zaleski also helps run the offense. There's Singleton, many people believe a rising star in the coaching industry. Of course, Mike White has produced so many great coaches. Megan Bartlett, who's now the head coach at Arizona State. Chelsea Spencer, the head coach at Cal. Jessica Allister was an assistant under White in the early Oregon days, of course, now at Stanford. Payoff pitch is low for a ball and a walk. Martinez gets on with 2 outs. Jimmy Kalitis, who's one of the best hitting coaches, now on the U.S. national team staff this year. An assistant at Arizona State, was an assistant under Mike White. Mike White, and he takes pride in that. Mike White's talked about how he keeps that in his mind, talking about his assistants and kind of helping them develop to maybe become future head coaches or and successful in the game.
I love that mentality too, because Coach White could look at it so differently and look at it in a selfish scope, saying, no, I want to keep them and I don't want them to flourish, because if they flourish, they might leave me and leave my program, you know, that we're working so hard to build. And so it says a lot about him to want the coaches around him to succeed and get those opportunities, because it means he's doing something right.
Patty Ruth Taylor, who you saw is the pitching coach, the new pitching coach this year, coming over from Lehigh. Mike White's actually given her the reins as far as pitching there. He's still involved, but it helped him kind of oversee the whole program and the entire team, he said, making this move.
Which is interesting, because I feel like it's a really hard thing for people to give up as head coach, as a pitcher yourself.
There's a ball hit to right. That will go foul. Count is 1-2. You got 2 head coaches that are very versatile. Cindy Beaumalone coaches the pitchers, but used to coach the offense. Coached the offense at Boise, coached the offense here when she got here to UCF. Changed it up to run the pitching staff. Has brought in Becca Mueller, who's at Cal, worked for Chelsea Spencer, and helped set a bunch of offensive records at Cal. Now she's runs the offense here at UCF in her first year. 1-2 is missed, 2-2. A lot of ties there, always interesting there. UC coach Cassidy Brewer, who played for Coach Ball Malone in 2019. Spent some time on the Florida staff before coming back here to alma mater. 2-2 fouled off. Stewart here, the freshman, fighting some pitches off. And that's what's from this Texas roster. What's impressive, Alex, you've got this freshman class and this sophomore class that's really taking it to a different level. This team is going to be a factor nationally here for the next few years as they go into the SEC.
And they're only going to get better and better as they learn.
And Felton is getting better as she gets the strikeout for Stewart. She embracing the obstacle. Keeps it a 2-run game as we head to the bottom of the 3rd.
The tweets extended too last time. I agree. We try to keep it solely focused on the pooches, but you know.
You had some cats last time?
Yeah. I'm more
Ashley
of a pup
Griffin
girl.
will lead it off here for the Knights. Knights still looking for their first base runner here against Tegan Cavan. Griffin takes for a ball, 1-1 the count. So 1-1 the count here with Griffin at the plate. Will be followed by Janisha Rowe and Shannon Doherty. 7, 8, 9. 1-1. Griffin fouls it off to the right side. Now, I will say this. I had an objection to, I thought it was a little controversial, adding cat photos in the Kansas series. However, I will allow it this weekend.
I know where you're going with this.
You do, don't you? Of course, Texas, the opponent. When you think of Texas softball, who's the first name you think of?
Of course, Kat Osterman.
So I think in honor of her, we will allow cat photos this weekend.
Too funny.
Good friend Kat Osterman. 1-2. Swing and a miss. Nasty pitch there by Kavan. Handcuffed Griffin to get to strikeout. First one out here in the third.
And look at the angle that ball's just going to take. It's going to continue to ride inside on the hands of Griffin, just easily getting the bite there on the swing, but that's such a beautiful pitch, going to continue to work its way through the zone and into the hands of the hitter.
Janisha Rowe at the plate, hitting .365 on the season. Will step in. Shows butt, missed there, 0-1 the count. Of course, I mentioned Kat Osterman, the 3-time National Player of the Year, 3-time Olympian, the greatest hitter Longhorn of all time. And it's interesting, every time there's a great Texas prospect coming in to pitch, it's always the comparison. But there's certainly been a lot of hype with Kavan, and we can see why. As that's a liner to third, and the catch is made by Scott for the second out of the inning. And certainly that Texas pitcher, a scrutinized position, and Kavan seems to have a bright future ahead.
And Scott's going to make that play look really easily. Look how far in she was playing, too, almost halfway in from the base to home there. That's great heads-up awareness on a ball. It wasn't hit too firm, almost one of those that right off the bat looks and feels a little harder and kind of just floats its way through. But good job by Scott on the hot corner.
Shannon Doherty now at the plate, the super senior. 242 homered, 17 RBIs. Got off to a similar slow start last year and really turned it on right around this time of year. Really helped the Knights win that second straight American Conference title, 40 wins, and into the NCAA regional. And you get the sense for the Knights here to have a strong finish. Shannon will be a big part of that.
Well, when I think of UCF offense, I think of a couple of things. Career-wise, of course, I think the history of Stephanie Best, but most recently, of course, Jada Cody. But then when I think of clutch, I think of Shannon Doherty. I think of Aubrey Evans. I think of the hitters that have come through a couple of times in some really big moments.
Yeah, thinking back to 2022, hit the walk-off homer against Georgia on opening night, hit a walk-off homer to center against Ole Miss, hit a big walk-off double against Virginia Tech on a Monday night. Really helped the Knights become a national seed and host a regional. As she hits a ground ball to second, Washington's there, throw to first in time to retire. As Mike White makes his way, we hope to maybe catch a word with him. We shall see. It'll be Maloney, Dayton, and Henry. 8, 9, and 1 against Longhorn. There, Mike White realized he's coming down. We'll just ask him a quick question. All right, Coach White, hope you could hear us there. Very good. Just give me your thoughts on Tegan Kavan so far through the first 3 innings.
Efficient. I think that's one word you use. She's doing a great job working ahead and then using defense as well. So I like what she's doing, getting a mix of strikeouts, ground balls, and fly balls.
Hey, Coach, your offense did a great job scoring a couple runs early in this ball game, but have been kind of quiet since. Caitlin Felton doing a good job in the circle for UCF. What kind of adjustments do you want to see from your hitters?
Be a little more patient with runners on base. I think we're just trying to push it too much and swing at her pitch instead of getting the pitch we really need to hit.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Hook 'em.
Coach Mike White joining us here, set for the top of the fourth. What'd you think of what he had to say there?
I love it. I love that he talked approach, and I love that he talked patience in the box, just because that's so much of what it's about. When you have pitchers in the circle that are kind of finding their groove, it's all about their dealing and what pitches you're swinging at as a hitter. You don't want to swing at their pitches. You want to get pitches over the plate that you can do some damage with.
Maloney takes a strike, 0-1 the count. That's one of the cool features we'll have this weekend. We'll try to have both coaches on during the game. With a great staff here on Big 12 Now, ESPN Plus. Working hours. Maloney hits a fly ball to right. It's carrying, but it's going to stay in the park. As Chloe Evans makes the catch. 1 out. Here in the fourth. There's Chloe with a beautiful smile.
Now batting with number 6, Bella Dayton.
Having a good time out there, tracking down some balls deep in the park. Love that. She gets great jumps, too, in the outfield.
Yeah.
I think it's overlooked because she makes it look so easy a lot of the time.
Has an incredible arm. Think back to, I'll never forget that throw from near the foul, the bullpen area in the foul territory in right field against Kansas on Sunday. Threw a perfect throw to home plate to get the Kansas base runner. It's one of the most amazing plays I've ever seen.
She's had a few throws that were on the money.
She set a program record 7 outfield assists last year. She's got 3 this year already. The count is 1-1.
Going back to what Coach White said, I think it says so much of him and about him to be able to let the reins loose a little on pitch calling, right? That's his area of expertise, or at least one of them. I think he's got a few. But just talking hitting approach and being on the other side from the circle, nobody better sometimes to talk that kind of plan than the person that would ultimately be competing against you, and that pitching experience that he has as a player himself and as a dominant pitcher. I love that insight because I would be asking him every week, every month, you know, hey, coach, what are you seeing? What is it that you would throw me if we were going head to head?
2-1 pitch from Felton. Foul back. It's Dayton. 2-2 now, the count. What are you seeing from Caitlin here early on here?
She's really found her groove, and I just like that phrase because I think it speaks so broadly about what she's doing. She's doing a good job being efficient into counts and trying to work ahead, but also allowing pitches to go off the plate and not give these Texas hitters too much over the plate now when she is ahead. And I like it. We saw her missing more white early in the ball game, but has since recovered really well. You look at that pitch count by inning, seemingly decreasing significantly after the first.
Is away, ball 3. So the count is 3-2 here to Dayton. With 1 out here in the top of the 4th. A 2-0 lead for the Longhorns, scoring 2 in the first. Payoff pitch from Felton. Ground ball to short, knocked down by Williams. Throw to first, too high. Off the ricochet. Doherty will pick it up. Dayton will reach. We'll see how they score that. But the Longhorns get a runner on nonetheless with 1 out.
And this ball just going to take that second hop and eat up Jazz Williams over at shortstop. Kind of got that in-between hop, and that ball just completely sailing out of the hand, too.
Fortunate that ball didn't get over the net. Otherwise, that's an automatic base.
I was just going to say, too, I'm surprised Dayton maybe didn't read that as soon as Jazz Williams threw it, because it was almost one of those that gets aired, you know, air milled right out at the fingers, and you see it immediately, knowing the speed that she has, too, on the base path.
Now Kaiten Henry at the plate takes ball 1. 1 for 2 for Henry with Dayton at first base. So now that is an error on Williams. That is the officially the scoring there. So an error on Williams, very uncharacteristic. Only the 13th error of the year for UCF. That's missed for a ball. So Felton now got to work around that.
It's tough, and I like the note, too, that we got from the Texas SID, that Texas is 22-0 when they score first, and I think that's such an interesting stat here, but UCF has done a great job limiting them to any further run production, keeping this ball game within reach.
Henry bloops one to left. That's going to drop for a hit. An excuse me hit. And it's 2 on, 1 out for the Longhorns.
Kaiten Henry finding a lot of success in multiple ways. We know how crafty she can be. Just gets fisted on that one. Able to still drive it the other way. No man's land. You got to love those because it's a line drive in the books. Doesn't matter how you get it. Sometimes a single is a single, and you'll take it.
So you got Dayton at second, Henry at first, with Scott at the plate. So an error and an in-loop single to left. Runners go. Throw to third is too high. Safe. And a double steal for the Longhorns.
And that's some really good base running right there. Just getting the UCF defense out of position. You got Jazz Williams crashing over. It's going to be a foot race between her and Dayton. And Coach White is so confident in the speed of Bella Dayton on the bases. I love that craftiness on the base path because it's something that he complemented again so well, doing so many parts of the game.
Coach Paul Malone is going to challenge the play here. So we're going to have an instant replay here, review. So it could be either a runner leaving early or it could be whether she was safer out on the base pass. big moment here. Let's take a look.
Interesting challenge there too. I feel like initially my gut says it would have to be the question of did she leave early, just knowing that the double steal was going to be on. I don't think the answer is yes. It doesn't look like it, especially because that trail leg is going to still be on second base, because I think it's pretty obvious that she slid in safely. I don't think she ever lost contact with the bag either. So if I had to go with my gut, I would definitely question if it was the leaving early.
Well, and if you're new to the sport,
challenges, and I like a lot of things, but that one's a tough one for me.
All right, they're calling it safe, so it's play stance. So it is second and third.
Move too, because you're looking ahead for longevity here in a 3-game series if you're Coach Ball Malone.
DeVoe throws a strike, 1-1 to count to Scott. So it's DeVoe versus Scott. They actually faced each other in that matchup in Clearwater in 2022. Scott went 2 for 3 in that game against UCF. Got a hit off DeVoe. The 1-1. And she hits one to center. That's going to be over the head of Rose, playing in. That's going to get 2 runs in and give the Longhorns a 4-0 lead on a 2 RBI triple by Mia Scott.
That's a great piece of hitting by Mia Scott. Just takes that pitch, something off speed on the outside corner there, but so much power in the bat of Mia Scott. Janisha Rowe just gets that first step slightly even remotely in. Gonna get burned there immediately over the head, and Scott has so much speed on the base path, easily going into third. That's a tough one.
Well, that's what makes defending Texas so tough. Scott's a player that can play hit small ball and also hit for a little power, slap for power. So it's kind of in between as a defender how you play her.
Absolutely, but you know that going into it too, and you just have to be on it, always thinking ahead, that next level mentality that makes these athletes some of the top performers in the NCAA Division I is their knowledge of the game.
Jolie Mitchell at the plate, takes the ball. It's 2-0 the count. And it's a runner at third here now, a 4-0 lead for Texas. And it's a game of margins though, right? It's a game of inches, they like to say. Maybe a step back, or maybe that's a fly ball out. This one's again hit to center. This one is going to be Rowe chasing it down. Tagging from third, a throw home is not in time as Scott scores on the sac fly. And it's 5-0 Longhorns.
And that's a really clutch piece of hitting right there by Jolie Mitchell, just doing a job. Knows the situation, knows the speed she has on the base path with Scott. All she has to do is get the ball deep enough in the green. She does just that, putting another run across the board. And that's exactly what Mike White wanted to see coming into this inning, is a few more insurance runs here for Texas, knowing that 2 wasn't enough against a really good team in UCF. 5 definitely puts them with a little bit of leverage here headed into the bottom half of the inning.
Reese Atwood at the plate takes a strike. She's 0 for 2 so far tonight. DeVoe, the 0-1 pitch. Goes off speed there. Ball outside, and it's 1-1. That's one of the things UCF's learning now here in life in the Big 12 is this game of inches, right? Situational hitting, situational plays could make a huge difference in a Big 12 series that maybe was not as big of a deal when you were in the American if you're UCF.
When you're playing better competition, you can definitely get away with a lot more mistakes because they don't feel so big. They don't look as big when you make them because great teams capitalize on them, and teams that are average or teams that are just of lesser ability might miss those opportunities, whereas really good teams like Texas is going to take advantage of every single one.
There's a grounder to third. Cody will throw to first to retire Atwood and the Longhorns here in the fourth. But Texas adds 3. His head coach, Cindy Ball Malone, is going to join us here momentarily. He's getting the headset on. Thanks, Coach, for joining us here. I want to ask you first about Caitlin Felton. You give her the ball, and I thought she gave you some quality innings. What did you think of her performance?
I thought she did well, and we're just unfortunate some of the things that are happening defensively, but, we'll get it together and get back in this game.
Hey, Coach, Tegan Kavan throwing a good game here for Texas so far. What do you want to see out of your hitters for adjustments?
just being pesky with their plan. I think that they're swinging at what she wants us to swing at, and we need to start swinging at what we want to swing at.
All right, Coach, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you.
Coach Sydney Ball-Malone joining us here at the bottom of the fourth. Top of the order for the Knights is Kotzelnick, Cody, and Chloe Evans. Here against Tegan Kavan. The Knights still looking for their first base runner. Texas 5 runs, 7 hits, no errors. UCF no runs, no hits, and an error. And a strike to Kotzelnick.
I think we just had like a breakthrough moment up here in the booth. I just am so giddy and fired up with the coaches having said nearly the same thing headed into their offensive innings.
Yeah.
The softball lover in me is a big fan of that.
The 0-1 pitch is missed there for a ball. And you could tell she's not happy with her defense. You mentioned it. The row play at center, the ball by Williams at short kind of aided that inning for Texas.
Those are game-changing plays, and I'm telling you, just taking advantage of opportunities. We also saw it in the top of the first.
Kotzelnick hits a high fly ball, but playable. Henry makes the catch for the first out here at the bottom of the fourth. So Kotzelnick retired as Kavan has retired the first 10 nights.
And that's back-to-back good at-bats for Stormy Kotzelnick. She's putting good bat on balls there. And I like just her hitting the ball deep in the outfield, saying that she's seeing the ball really well. She's patient with her plan, too.
There's a strike to Cody.
But, Eric, we saw it in the first, in the top of the first with the UCF defense when you had the slight hiccup there on the base path from Mia Scott when she got that big lead over at first, and then Griffin not taking advantage of the out opportunity. Those things come back to haunt you.
Splits for a ball, 1-1 the count. I think that's what's frustrated Coach Ball-Malone. It's one thing, she even mentioned this after the Oklahoma State series, is you're playing good team. You don't need to assist them.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's kind of like you're not playing to the level that we're supposed to play. She always talks about a lot about we're not worried about who we're playing. We're playing to our standards, and I think that frustrates her when she doesn't feel they're playing to their own standards.
It's so frustrating because it's typically within your own control. And if you are an athlete at a decently high level, even, you've probably had a coach tell you in games that you have lost at some point in your career that, hey, the other team didn't beat you, we beat ourselves. And there's nothing worse than that feeling, especially as a coach.
1-2, Cody fouls it off. Here's Coach Ball-Malone, 2-time All-American at Pacific, two-way player, led Pacific within a win in the College World Series back in 2001. Lost to her best friend, Jessica Mendoza at Stanford. Of course, the mention went to Boise. It was an assistant at Washington for a couple years under Heather Tarr. The 1-2, Cody fouls it off down the left side. Of course, built the Boise State program from the bottom to the top. And, of course, got the attention of then UCF AD, Danny White, and brought her to UCF. Here's the last swing by Cody.
And look at that swing from Jada Cody. She's going to go down on the back knee, say, get off me, ball, something way in on the hands. Still gets decent barrel on it. I mean, her hand's extended enough.
Cody drops one into right for a base hit. First hit of the ball game for the Knights comes from Jada Cody. Career hit number 237 for Cody, 5th all-time in UCF softball history.
And this is what makes Jada Cody so good. Look at where that pitch is, first of all. Almost down on the ground. Borderline at her shins there, off the plate. That's such a great piece of hitting. The pitch before, she's going to foul over the batting cages. Way foul on the left field side, her pull side, then going to go the next pitch opposite field. The ability to make adjustments quickly is what she's so great at.
Chloe Evans tries a bunt there, fouls it off, and it's 0-1 the count. So the Knights get their first hit. We'll see if that can get them going. As Coach Ball-Malone, did she say the word pesky?
She did, yeah, she said the word pesky.
First here on the broadcast history here. Love it.
Hey, I like it. Just kind of that annoyer. You know, I've heard her say that word for sure, especially about
Describing
DeVoe.
DeVoe,
Yep,
Angelina
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
In a complimentary way, for the record.
Yes, because you want to be pesky. You want to be an annoyer. Just chipping away, and there's nothing worse when you're playing an opponent that is continuously just gritty, pitch after pitch.
Cody at first base, 0-2 count to Chloe. Off speed from Cody. What's been now seeing Tegan here for 3 1/3? What stood out to you from her, seeing her now live?
She's good. She just paints corners really well. She stays around the plate really well. Everything out of her hand looks pretty effective. getting decent enough swings and bites from the UCF hitters, which is exactly what Coach Bob Malone was saying. They're getting out of their plans and falling into her pitches.
Chloe gets jammed, pops it up into second base. Washington makes the catch for the second out of the inning. It's a good pitch there by Kavan going inside on Chloe. Two gone. Aubrey Evans will come to the plate. You look at tonight's offense, not much to say there outside this Cody hit here in this inning.
It's been tough when you're 3 up, 3 down every inning. It's hard to get some kind of momentum going. People on base, and Kavan doing a great job changing speeds now.
Aubrey takes the strike. Of course, UCF, 14th strongest schedule in college softball. Texas has the 11th. Neither of these teams like to duck anybody. And UCF has seen some pitching. They saw Lexi Kilfoyle last weekend in Stillwater. They're seeing Kavan this weekend. Part of a Big 12. Of course, they faced Casey Hamilton. We saw her a couple weeks ago. Tech Kansas sweeping Baylor last weekend. It's a league where you're seeing the best of the best, and it's part of the learning curve for UCF, but they feel they've got to run in this veteran group. It's the 0-2. Aubrey fouled it off. It was interesting. I was watching that Florida State-Texas broadcast, and they were talking about how Lonnie said, it's not where you're at now, it's where you're at later in the year, right? Peaking at the right time. And that's the thing. We forget this sport, it could be a marathon to the players and coaches that, you know, it's not a one-game season. It feels that way, but not. There's still a lot of games to go here. Ooh, that got away from Kavan. It hits Aubrey Evans. As she gets on, and it's 2 on, 2 out here in the fourth.
And that pitch immediately out of the hand of Kavan, going to go straight into the hip and backside of Evans. That definitely hurts. Kavan.
The podcast, yes, I had Pat Osterman was my guest on this week's In the Circle on D1 softball. As Sona Hallahan hitting here, gets it back to Kavan, who throws to first. And Sona Hallahan retired on here. Play Texas, getting to host them. A great crowd here. Certainly, if we hear about a number, we'll let you know. As we're now here in the top of the fifth, Washington will lead it off for Texas against Angelina DeVoe. As it'll be Washington, Martinez, Stewart, scheduled Longhorn hitters, 5, 6, 7. As they attend to a bit of an equipment. We have a new catcher, looks like, for the Knights, Kylie Strout. Piers is, yep, that's the new catcher. And she's putting on the equipment. This is part of the new equipment that we have in technology here, Alex, in softball this year.
And that's going to be the ability for the coach and the catcher to relay pitches and pitch calling. You've got athletes that are going to wear a band on their wrist to be able to relay pitches as well. And that's to help kind of support that 20-second rule that is now in place between pitch to pitch. So as soon as the pitch is delivered, the catcher is making the throw back. You have 20 seconds on the clock to deliver the next pitch.
So Kylie's in the game, catching, freshman from Longwood. The 1-0 is in there for a strike. Katie Burge also in the game in left field. Those are the defensive changes for the Knights. Here in the top of the fifth. Washington, you see there, 1 for 2 with an RBI. There's Katie Burge, who also played in that Texas UCF game I've talked about so far from Clearwater 2022. A game that the Knights won 15-10 in a game that went 3 hours and 46 minutes. Combined for 11 errors. Texas made 7 errors, 5 in 1 inning. Had 4 runners thrown out at home plate, did Texas, in that wacky game. Knights came from behind. DeVoe got the win in that ball game. It's a game that I believe our good friend Amanda Scarborough still has. Every time I bring that game up, I think she cringes there. So does Karen Johns, who had to be the stats person for ESPN in that game. A lot of wildness in that game. Of course, that was a tournament that Texas went winless in. UCF went 2-4. And that was a big win for UCF because UCF ended up hosting as a 16 national seed for the first time in program history. Texas didn't host. They got sent to Seattle, and they used that as a chip on their shoulder. They ended up going to the College World Series and played for the national championship before losing to Oklahoma. UCF, of course, winning their first regional, beating Michigan to get to the Supers before they lost to Oklahoma. So both of those teams' seasons came at the end against Oklahoma. Here's a ground at a third foul, or throw to first. And it's in there for the out. Or was it an out? Was it a fair or foul ball? The foul ball. That's what I thought. Crowd got excited. They were impressed by Cody's play here. Let's look.
You're going to see it's going to bounce fair, but then it goes right foul. And Cody's going to field it foul, so therefore the call will stand.
Crowd was excited,
He's,
though, that
hey,
play.
I know,
That fooled
I know.
me. They got me fooled. This one's definitely fair. Cody will throw to first. Lively crowd, sold out. As the ground out there for the first out here in the 5th inning. But that matchup at Clearwater, as wacky as it was, and I remember talking to Mike White year after that. He said that was a turning point for his team because they realized, okay, well, this is what we need to work on and things like that. And they were able to turn it around after that weekend and had the great season. Haley Docini led them to the way. Janae Jefferson, a great player. Of course, UCF had a great year there as well, so both teams were successful. As you look at the Longhorns inbox, what stands out to you here?
Well, I think just top of the order, of course, right? But then some bottom of the order production, of course. Bella Dayton doing a great job just contributing time and time again. Not a lot of hits, though, overall.
Martinez with a fly ball to left. Burge is under it, makes the catch.
But they really haven't, other than the triple by Mia Scott, had many balls in the gaps or anything deep for extra bases, just that one. And then some really situational, timely hitting.
Well, I mean, some might be surprised. Maybe they were expecting Sarah Willis to get the ball. It's worth noting Willis pitched in all 3 games last weekend against Oklahoma State. Perhaps you save her, give her an extra day of rest. And I think, to your point, you brought it up earlier, I think Coach Ballmalone liked Felton getting those ground ball outs against this offense. And then we talked to her in the bottom of the 4th. I got this said she was pleased with what she got from Felton. I don't think she was pleased with the defense behind her.
That's a valid point. I also think, too, though, if you're Coach Bob Malone, you're looking ahead at the entire series. It's not just one game you're playing for. It's all 3. And so knowing who you might get from the Texas side tonight in the circle and then trying to have a matchup, too, because you don't necessarily want to throw Sarah Willis in a game like tonight. You could save her for tomorrow. So it's a total strategy move as well, knowing what you're up against for the next couple of days.
2 balls and a strike to count to Stewart. He's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Gets jammed, pops it up to short. Williams fakes the cat there. Jazz Williams started it off here for the Knights against Tegan Cavan in the bottom of the 5th. It'll be Jazz here to lead it off for this Knights offense. Has got to get something going now. Trailing 5-0. Jazz will be followed by Ashley Griffin. And Sarah Willis will hit. She actually came in that last half inning to play center field. So we'll see. And I think part of that is to bring some bats offensively. Get us some extra hitters here. As Jazz fouls it off. And it's 0-2 the count. Williams is super senior, of course, 2nd year. Swings and misses as Cavan goes upstairs to get the strikeout for the first out in the 5th.
And we know that Cavan has a great rise ball. She's going to throw it pretty predominantly here in these at-bats, but just climbing the ladder there on Jazz Williams, chasing that ball out of the zone. And that's where Cavan can become really dangerous if hitters start expanding their zone too much, swinging outside themselves. She'll just continue to go up and up, climbing that ladder.
So now Katie Burge at the plate. Hitting in the 7th spot. Remember we talked about bringing in Burge defensively. It was part of the double switch there lineup-wise.
We did talk about that, just kind of strategy and methodology headed into this game as we got the lineups. And you have to make those adjustments throughout the game, too. You have to allow the game to dictate what it is. It's, I always tell my hitters that I give lessons to that the game will tell you everything you need to know. You just need to pay attention, and you need to be able to understand how to listen.
2's missed there, 1-2 the count.
And right now, Coach Ball Malone needing some big bats in the lineup. I think coming into this game, she knew that the matchup with Felton, she needed some really good defenders out there in the outfield, which is why we saw some of what we did. And now it's all about the big swingers.
1-2. Bird slaps one into left. But Hayton is there to make the catch. Henry Caton making the catcher. Caton Henry with the catch for the second out.
And look at where Caden Henry's going to be playing, just shy on the left side of second base, but covers ground so well. I love also that she didn't leave her feet. So often we see outfielders making dives when they don't have to, so a lot of speed under her feet. I love that she's able to cover the ground, making it look easy. It's the unnecessary dives.
Here's Sarah Willis, as I foreshadowed, hitting here. Swings the first pitch, hits it to Kavan, who will throw to first to retire Willis. And the Knights in order here in the fifth.
We've been better.
I can tell. You're here. I mean, I overheard you talking to Major about bringing in a dog to be a third in the booth here.
I think it'd be a great idea.
Expand on our broadcast booth here.
Absolutely. We have dog days here at the Plex.
Here's a comebacker off DeVoe's glove, and that'll be no play as Ashton Maloney will reach. We'll see how they score that, but Maloney gets on to start the Longhorns' sixth inning.
And Maloney's just going to hit this ball right back to Angelina DeVoe. She kind of has the hiccup there on which way to turn her glove. And gets handcuffed on the bounce. But then Maloney has so much speed on the base path, too. Just no shot for DeVoe to even come up with that after she does make the fumble.
Texas is going to go to the bench here.
Entering for the Longhorns, number 44,
Texas.
Katie Simmons.
Katie Simmons will now pinch hit with a runner at first there and nobody out. Coach White going to the bench with a junior from Humboldt, Texas. Was an all Big 12 freshman unanimous performer in 2022. Played in that UCF Texas game in Clearwater and actually hit a home run in that ball game for Texas. And that's going to bring out Coach Ball Malone, and I think she's going to make it the Knights this weekend. Throw as many different looks on this talented, explosive Texas offense.
It's hard enough to make adjustments throughout the game at bat to at bat, but then when you start adding in different arms that you're seeing these at bats off of, just throws the wrench in there.
Katie Simmons at the plate, who was, I know you were talking to Chris Brown, the SID for Texas. Shout out to him about the batting practice display.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. I just wanted to send him a text and say, hey, this was the girl that was put on the show in BP, right? It was Simmons. And he said, yep, it was her. Good stuff.
1-1 is fouled off. The 1-2 to count.
Katie Simmons was hitting to all parts of the park. I think that was what I loved most, just so much power, but not just to one side. She really was a complete field hitter, just even in BP, and you love to see those kind of approaches going into the ball game. And she came off the bench on Wednesday in a pinch hit opportunity and was 2 for 2 on the night.
Got her. Big strikeout for Cochran to record the strikeout here in the sixth.
It's almost like Caitlin Cochran heard me just saying that here in the booth and just going to climb the ladder. Simmons swinging out of her shoes at a ball up and out of the zone there. It's a great pitch.
So one out here in the sixth. Caton Henry to the plate. Henry tries to bunt it, hit her bat, and it'll be a foul ball.
This is the right call here. Gonna double tap, but also the fact that she is still in the box. So good call all around. Henry having a great night at the plate.
Surly will be in the mix for the National Freshman of the Year award. Her and Tegan Kavan. Good luck picking the which freshman for Texas there, among many. There's a lot of great freshmen out there. These two will be in that conversation. Pitch out, throw to first. Getting back there is Maloney. Maloney, 6 steals on the season. 6 for 8 on the year. Kylie Schrott, young freshman from Longwood, 1 for 2 this year, throwing out base runners. Has a very good arm. Her dad is a local country music radio host here in town. Has hosted for many decades mid-drive time.
I feel like what you're saying is so he should be out there on the party deck.
Oh, he's there.
Out in left center. Okay.
Or if he's not, he's watching. But he's there. That ball is fouled off. If he's not here, it might be because he's part of a he's helping MC a wedding. He's helped DJ over like 2,500 weddings, he told me. I'm just saying. So there's the party deck brought out this weekend for this series. A unique view out there in the outfield.
Still waiting on the answer on whether we could take the broadcast out there one day. I think our producer, Major Howe's avoiding me every time I just throw it out there.
Might be in the books for next year. It might be in the books. I think our guys like Kyler Bart, who helps obviously set up everything. There's some great Knight fans there. Carson Engel, nice Knight fan there. A longtime fan here in the softball program there in the outfield. Runner goes, but it's ball 4. The throw is perfect, but it will not matter as it was a walk, so everybody is safe, and the ball hit Jaz's hand, and you hope she's okay. She's had an issue with that hand injury. Remember, she got hurt on opening day with that wrist. You see it taped up.
And such a tough play because, again, if you have that pre-pitch thought going into it, you know that that's going to be ball 4 at that point. If you're Jazz Williams, you're just trying to cut that throw off to make sure that it doesn't get by you. And if you know it's ball 4, you don't make that unnecessary throw. You don't potentially risk yourself getting hurt. Tough play.
So 2 on, 1 out for Scott. We get to come back to Cochran, who will throw to third for an out and get the lead runner out. Nice play by Cochran, the sophomore. Making the play here for the second out here in the 6th inning.
And this is that pre-pitch thought process that I was just referring to here. Caitlin Cochran going to deliver the pitch, knowing that if a ball's hit back to her, she's got the force at 3. That one hit firm back to the circle, going to turn and throw. Jada Cody also pre-pitch thought, looking to turn 2 there with the throw across the field to first, but just too much speed on the base path. I love it. That's what you need to be doing going into every single pitch. If the ball's hit to me, where am I going to go? But also if it's hit slow, if it's hit hard, if it's hit over my head to my left, to my right? That's what great hitters, great pitchers, great fielders do all the time, putting themselves in good situational moments, mentally first.
Jolie Mitchell at the plate. The 1-0's missed tie, 2-0 the count. Cochran hasn't gotten as many innings. There's a lot of veterans in front of her. Isabella Vega hasn't pitched this year. Young freshman phenom who they're excited about for the future. Cochran only just a sophomore. Delivers a strike, and obviously pitching here to keep the Knights here within 5, but also this could be valuable experience for the rest of the year and for the rest of her career.
Oh, it will be, and that's what you want, right? If your number is called down the road, especially when it counts in postseason, you want to already have that been there, done that kind of mentality and confidence.
Right there's a strike, 2-2. Very poised. Of course, her parents drive all the way from South Carolina to come here to home games, hanging out in the outfield.
And look at this pitch. She's going to paint it right there on the inside corner. No fear from Cochran. I love that she's just going in right at these hitters.
2-2. Mitchell fouls it off.
Especially with that velo, too. If you're a pitcher that has good velocity in the circle, you're going to be able to be efficient and successful if you can establish an inside corner, because it's really hard to get your barrel extended on balls off the plate, inside the plate.
Two pitch. Got her! A strikeout for Caitlin Cochran, who comes out of the bullpen and shuts the door on an Andrew Sundin home run in the bottom of the 8th. See how it travels to the road. Softball and baseball and all the UCF teams have found in the Big 12. Hard to win on the road, Alex.
It is. Well, the competition's so good. I feel like the home crowds, too, are a little wild in a good way, right? A lot of fun, but very supportive of their home squads.
Shannon Doherty at the plate gets jammed, and that ball will drop in the infield. A throw to first, in time. Heads up play by the Longhorns defense. Didn't bail on that play. Quick reaction. Scott making the play for the first out.
And look at that ball right there. You're going to see, I think it's going to be Martinez that's going to come up with it. Yeah, that was a great job having her back, but Martinez has a quick release right out of the hand. It almost caught her by surprise as well. Shannon Doherty going to try to call the safe call as she runs down the line through the bag, but Martinez, bang, bang play.
My apologies to Viv Martinez. There's a liner up the middle through. Base hit. 1 out single for Stormy Kotzelnick. And gives the Knights their second hit of the ball game.
And it was only a matter of time before Stormy Kotzelnick came through. She had a couple of good at-bats leading into this third plate appearance here. Finally driving that one in the hole through the middle. She had 2 deep fly balls to center field, her first 2 at-bats.
Moves. I was watching BYU play Texas in Austin as Cody gets jammed, bloops one into right, and that play's not handled. And a throw to second is safe, and Cody gets on, and the Knights have 2 on, 1 out.
And you know what they say, hitting is contagious. Jada Cody gets fisted on that one too, just taking it the other way, but finds success down the right field line. That was a great effort by Washington down the right field line, just unable to come up with it, but making the diving attempt there. Stormy Kotzelnick easily sliding into second. I say easily, she kind of got held up for a split second over at first, seeing if the catch was going to be made, but motored down the line well.
Chloe Evans takes a ball. It's a single for Cody, her second of the night. An hit. So you see Stormy now at second base, Jada Cody at first with Chloe Evans at the plate. 0 for 2 tonight. Swings and fouls it all. That was I'll tell you, I've been so impressed by these hitters. They're getting these muscling these base hits. You're getting jammed. Both of these pitching staffs have done a good job tonight throwing inside. But these hitters have been able to find ways to get hits. Yeah,
and great hitters can find different ways to be successful. I think that's the biggest thing, especially on pitches inside. If you can take that ball and hit it opposite field, it's a good day.
Cody to left. A sliding catch is made by Dayton. He slides into that field turf in foul territory. And a big out there as Chloe's retired.
And Bella Dayton doing a great job covering some ground on the left field line. Look at this diving grab. She's going to make it. Helps, too, that she's the lefty fielder as well. And that one on her glove side. I love when it plays out like that. That's a great job. Look how smooth, too, that slide was in foul territory. So athletic.
So 2 outs, and Aubrey Evans at the plate takes a strike. 0-1 the count. A couple of big, deep Texas defensive plays in this inning. Dig back to the play, Martinez on the pop-up in the infield, and now Dayton on the catch at left field. Otherwise, the Knights could be a completely different inning. As Evans takes a ball, 1-1 the count. I think that's been the question going into the season about Texas. If there's one question, it's their defense. And certainly, if you look at their stats, it doesn't jump out at you. They've made a lot of errors, but they've also gotten to a lot of plays. They're among the nation's best in double plays, and I think Mike White feels they're getting stronger defensively by the week. As Aubrey Evans hits a deep fly ball to center, but playable, as Henry makes the catch and ends the Knights' threat. Knights good sixth inning out of their bullpen. That bottom half of the inning, Knights with their best threat of the night, and I thought Texas defense, Dayton in left field with a sliding catch, and then Martinez heads up on a pop-up in the infield that dropped in front of her, making the throw to get Doherty out. Really was a big key for Texas as Jada Cody now is catching. Third Knights different catcher of the night. But, you know, Texas's defense, as I was mentioning in that last inning, that's the question, right? It's the defense. Is it good enough? That was Mike White saying, let's get better to get to that next level. And you saw an example there how athletic they are defensively in the outfield. They have a lot of range, and then in the infield.
And you've got to have a lot of range, a lot of versatility out there on the side of defense, because some of these teams offensively are just putting on an absolute show. So you got to be able to try to field and catch the ball, making the great plays, but also, and most importantly, making the routine plays, which I think people often overlook.
Reese Atwood at the plate, ahead of the count 1-0. 0 for 3 tonight for Atwood. And the 1-0 pitch is outside. Atwood, 11 home runs on the season, 50 RBIs, reaching 100 RBIs in 85 at-bats, the fastest Longhorn to ever get to that number. Lindsey Stevens did it on 131 at-bats. Taylor Tom in 136 at-bats. Tom in 2013, Stevens in 20. They both have share the program record with 66 RBIs. Atwood within striking distance, only 16 behind. She's in the top 10 in home runs with 11. matching her home run total from last year as a freshman. She swings, hits a fly ball to right. Chloe Evans is under it and makes the catch. And Atwood 0 for 4 now tonight.
When you go through your scouting reports, getting ready for games and weekend series, you always have 1, 2, sometimes 3 hitters, depending on the lineup that you're facing, that have circles and stars around their name saying, hey, this person is not going to beat us if we get in situations. And I think Reese Atwood was that hitter for UCF for the Texas lineup.
Alyssa Washington gets hit by a pitch as Cochran goes inside, and Washington gets on. So 1 on, 1 out here in the 7th. As Washington will right here.
I saw Cochran trying to establish that inside corner on the plate. This one just getting away from her, gonna pepper the hands of Alyssa Washington. She takes it like a champ.
That said from someone who knows from experience.
I avoided hit by pitches at all costs. I'm just saying. I mean, if the game's on the line, you know I'm your girl, but
Doesn't you avoided it? Doesn't mean you weren't hit at some point.
Exactly.
By the way, Sierra Humphreys now in third base with Cody catching. So Humphreys at third with Cody catching. And now we got a pinch runner for Texas. There's Adea Wallace, the pinch runner for Texas.
Now batting the shortstop, number 23, Vivi Martinez.
Now Martinez stepping in. Martinez played in shortstop position for Texas. Takes a ball. I asked her before the season started, who was a softball player that she looked up and enjoyed watching play? She said Sis Bates. Pretty good choice. You're playing shortstop, right?
And definitely pretty comparable, too.
Bates, first great shortstop at Washington, part of their staff now. There's a ground ball to second. Aubrey flips to second for 1. Williams throws to first in time. 4-6-3 double play. Second double play turned by that combo tonight. And ends the...
Has done a great job throughout this game, really keeping the UCF hitters guessing in the box. Sierra Humphreys trying to change that luck for the Knights here tonight. Put a run across the board. A couple would be nice.
Trying to mount a late comeback here. 0-1 to Humphreys, tries a bunt, butts it foul. Let's look at the last play that ended the top half of the inning.
Look at this play. Look how fast it was, too. Aubrey Evans going to do a great job with the open-handed flip there. Jazz Williams cutting across. I mean, the speed of that to get the runner out by 3 steps on the double play says a lot about the quickness of your defense, who's really good.
Pitch is missed inside, 1-2 the count. To Humphreys, hitting .415 on the year with a home run and 11 RBIs. Facing Kavan. The 1-2 from Teagan. And that's ball to the right side. What a play by Washington with the out. An incredible play by Alyssa Washington, who just absolutely... Did she rob Humphreys there? We'll see. But what a play. Let's take a look. Did Humphreys beat it out?
And that forehand in the 3-4 hole, Alyssa Washington going to do a great job making the grab. Again, staying on her feet right there so she can make the turn, give the throw to first. Great pick, too, by the first baseman. Coming up with that play was Stewart staying with it. I think the question's going to be, did she bobble it? Did she catch it cleanly?
The play. And let's see if they stay with the call on the field. Yeah, they are. And I think, Alex, that's one of those where they're going to stay with the call. I don't think there was enough there to overturn whether she had it. There was not a clear, I think, angle that showed she didn't have the ball.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and I think you're 100% correct. I think the thing is, you know, the call on the field is so important because the video proof and the video reviews that occur have to be believable enough and convincing enough to overturn the call. So typically the call on the field is kind of hard unless it is just, without a doubt, the wrong call.
Savannah Adams now pinch hitting. And again, right, if that call is safe, I think it stands. I think it's one of those,
Absolutely.
Whatever, I was going to stand.
What do they say in the courtroom? You know, beyond a reasonable doubt, it's almost that concept out there on the field.
That's right. You studied law, didn't you?
Yeah.
You minor?
It was a master's degree in law.
Master's in law. Hello.
It means I'm argumentative. Just ask my family.
A ball and a strike to count to Savannah Adams, who's pinch hitting. Adams had 3 RBIs against Texas in 2022, but she grounds out to short here as Martinez throws to first. And the Knights are down to their last out. So Savannah Adams now 8 for 20 on the season. And that'll bring up Katie Burge to the plate. Does that mean if I need representation, I can just text you and say, hey, can you represent me?
I can't give you, I can't represent you. But I can definitely point you in the right direction and give you a lot of background.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hopefully I don't need that, but now I know if I do, if I get them in a situation, I know who to hit up.
Yes.
Good to have good friends.
I'm your girl. I'm your girl.
Game 2 of this series tomorrow, 2 Eastern. We'll have it for you right here. Expected another big crowd, and some of the rain has now started. The weather's kind of wacky this weekend. It's supposed to rain on and off all weekend. There was about a 60% chance of rain today. Most of it came this morning, and they were expecting it to rain a little later tonight. There's some rain also in the forecast, perhaps for the morning tomorrow. We'll see. Not a weather person. The 1-1. Burge grounds it to third, and it's foul.
Think of your coach, Ball Malone, looking at this game and thinking about how you're going to approach your team in post-game. Not that it's over, but just as we close into the last inning here, you just think about the opportunities and the missed opportunities, I think, more than anything. And it's not, a matter of being within one swing because you're down 5 runs, but it is a matter of adjustments.
Here's a ball to the infield. It'll be easily a hit for Burge as Scott holds on to the ball. Infield hit for Katie Burge with 2 outs. And if nothing else, I think the Knights want to have some momentum going into tomorrow. They threaten against Cavan in the 6th, and here they get a hit from Burge.
Absolutely, and Katie Burge just not going down lightly, going to still apply some pressure here to the defense of Texas, putting the ball on the ground, trying to make them make a play. But UCF has had some really bright spots tonight, too. You had Stormy Kotsunik at the top of the lineup. I thought she was seeing the ball really well. Only 1 for 3 on the night, but doesn't speak on the quality plate appearances that she had. Jada Cody coming through a couple of times, a couple of hits. Chloe Evans a little quiet in the box, too, somebody who's been a big producer for UCF. But again, there's good things to take from game 1 here. And then, of course, some areas that you want to clean up for the rest of the series.
And Willis with a base hit to left field. Willis says, hold on here. She gets a hit, and it's 2 on, 2 out here for the Knights in the 7th. Knights offense coming to life late here.
I feel like I jinxed a lot going into this game and throughout it, but Sarah Willis doing a good job here prolonging this game. Having a good at-bat there, the 5-6 hole, that one just getting poked through to the left side.
And I believe we're going to have Kennedy Searcy to pinch hit, a welcome sight for Knight fans. Kennedy Searcy's been battling some injuries, undisclosed injuries, and has missed some time, getting a chance to pinch hit, which at least gives you a positive sign that she's healthy enough to be available to pinch hit. The senior from Jacksonville, Florida. They have missed her at left field. That's why you've seen so many different players at left. Kennedy's dealt with some injuries going back since California, Mary Nutter. She takes ball 1. Welcome back. You're facing the number 2 ranked team in the country, one of the best freshman pitchers in the country.
Hey, no better time to get healthy than now.
But second consecutive inning, the Knights have got multiple runners in position.
And this is where, too, you have the youngness of Cavan, only a freshman, but this is a moment here. You're up 5 runs, you've got 2 outs, it's the bottom of the 7th, you've thrown, a complete game up to this point. Go right at this hitter. I don't care who it is. You have a lot of wiggle room to work with here because you've got a nice run lead and cushion. And only at 85 pitches on the night, so effective and efficient in the circle. You're going to see she's got 4 Ks on the night, spinning the ball so well. Both sides of the plate is where she was going to work. Right now, looking inside corner so hard for that strike-free pitch right there, climbing the ladder to Jazz Williams. But Cavan has been lights out.
Showing why she's one of the best freshman pitchers in the country. It's a top 5 ranked out of high school, according to Perfect Games. 2-0. He's in there for a strike, and many believe she could be the next great Longhorn pitcher. We know who set the standard, Kat Osterman, but they've had other great ones. Blair Luna, Haley Docini, to name a few, couple. They believe Teagan could be the next great one. And she's now a strike away from a shutout. She's 2-2 here on Kennedy. Part of this deep Texas staff that ranks 5th in the country with a 1.34 ERA. As Kennedy pulls one into right, and a diving effort that just goes foul. Oh, just foul. As Maloney dove for it, couldn't come up with it, but it landed foul. And the Knights don't catch a break there.
Kennedy Cersei taking that ball down the right field line with her, but Maloney doing a great job, so close.
Clearly foul.
Look at that attempt down the line, just completely going horizontal there. Definitely the right call. At least a foot foul.
That ball would have been fair. Could have had a couple runs to score, but it is what it is. 2-2, 2 on, 2 out. Kennedy gets jammed, grounds into second, or is it? Nope. They're blowing the play dead here. Foul ball. Foul ball there.
Take a look if it's going to bounce off of the foot of Cersei.
Yeah, good eyes there by the umpire.
Tough call. It happened so fast, too.
That was close. So it's a foul ball. Time call, and I think Mike White's going to have a word with Robert Guess. Maybe about that last play, whether it hit her or not, whether it was fair or foul. Yeah, he's not happy about that last call.
I was going to say, I think if nothing else, going to give him a piece of his mind, let him know that he doesn't agree, and it's so tough because it's bang bang, and I think it's questionable. It's definitely questionable.
Well, don't you think the umpire, the spin maybe kind of, here's another angle.
There's a lot you take into consideration when you're trying to make these calls, especially those live time. Now, here's the thing. You can always call a ball fair and pull a runner back. You can't call a ball foul and put a runner on base. That's the tough part.
And that's missed full. It's 3-2. Well, that's a great point you make about it. That's probably what Mike's even more upset about.
Right. I think call it fair and then let them discuss more than anything. It's probably just a good coaching moment, discussion moment.
Payoff pitch. Low ball 4, and the bases are now loaded here with 2 outs. A walk by Cersei. There's the Knights here. Getting back in here with Stormy coming to the plate. I'm going to defend the umpiring crew on that call. I think that spin, too, makes you think that it hit her, perhaps, because that ball took a kind of a... She would be the tying run if Stormy can extend this game.
Stormy Kotzelnick was seeing the ball, in my opinion, as one of the best hitters for UCF right now, just in this game. Everything looked really slow to her, which when things look slow and an athlete looks really comfortable in the box, you know they're seeing the ball well. They're swinging at pitches outside of the zone, getting beat in on the hands or off the end of the bat. You know that things look fast. But she was barreling up the last couple of balls that she saw.
And Stormy lines one to center, but right to the center fielder, Kaiten Henry, who makes the catch. And the Texas Longhorns hold on and take game 1 of this 3-game series here in the Big 12 by a final score of 5-0. Teagan gets the win for Texas. She gets the shutout. She gets her 11th win for Covan. As Caitlin Felton gets the loss, Texas improves to 26-3. UCF now 14-12, but the Knights
Yo, let's take a moment to appreciate the ones who heal us when we're not feeling great. They're the ones in white coats with stethoscopes, saving lives, giving hope, never losing scope. From the ER to the operating room, they battle illness, dispelling gloom. With steady hands and hearts of gold, they navigate the chaos, bold and cold. They're the healers, the guardians of health. In the face of adversity, they stand with stealth. With knowledge and skill, they fight the fight, keeping us strong in the darkest night. In the midst of pain, they bring relief with compassion and care beyond belief. They listen to our woes with empathy, prescribing remedies, setting us free. From pediatric wards to geriatric care, they show compassion, always there. With expertise and dedication, they strive to keep us healthy, to keep us alive. They're the healers, the guardians of health. In the face of adversity, they stand with stealth. With knowledge and skill, they fight the fight, keeping us strong in the darkest night. So here's to the doctors, the unsung heroes, whose hands hold lives like precious kilos. In the symphony of healing, they play a part, mending bodies and souls with love and art.